Alright, so what I'm doing today, I'm taking a little break from doing a VersaCam video. I'll have that up this weekend, but in the meantime, I'm doing another little mod for my car. Want to guess what this is for? Well, if you read the description, it's going to be a battery cover. So basically, I've got this battery in here. Can't really spray paint a battery. I've already painted the engine cover, painted the fuse cover, air thingy there, the oil cap. It's hard to see because there's not very much light. The light's kind of, the hood's kind of in the way. But so I painted a bunch of stuff in here. Done some wiring upgrades, so those are all red wiring. And the battery's just kind of boring, hanging out there. So I wanted to do a little upgrade. So I've got some MDF here. This is just 1/4 inch MDF. I had it left over from another project, so I'm going to try it and see what happens. So next thing I'm going to do is these aren't on right now, so you know, those are the 4 pieces. So this is the actual part that goes on top of the battery. I've got the sides, and then I've got the other side. So this is basically going to go directly over the battery. Lift that up. Okay, so it's going to go over the battery. It will be all the way in. And then the sides will come down and make it kind of a tight fit, basically. So it just fits right down on top and doesn't move around. Because obviously if I just put a piece of wood in here, it's just going to go everywhere, you know. It's just going to slide all over the place. So that's why I have the sides. Alright, so here's the second part of this. I just glued it. I didn't really glue it. I found out I didn't have any wood glue. I really didn't want to go buy any because I have a ton of other stuff lying around I can use. So I ended up using some caulking. Not ideal. Wood glue would probably give you a much better hold. But I'll see how this works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'll go and get some glue and take it apart and everything. But I think it should work fine for what I'm doing, especially after I paint it and everything. And I put a bunch of extra caulking on the inside, the seams, just like you would do with like a sub box. Put extra caulking on the inside. So I put a lot of caulking on there. I'm hoping that it turns out alright. It should look pretty sweet, so I'm going to let that dry. I don't know how long this stuff takes to secure here, but it'll probably take a while, so I probably won't be able to finish this until tonight. But so for now, that's what I've got. I've got this piece of 4x4 on it to keep the pressure, so it doesn't, you know, fall over while it's drying. So for now, that's all I got. Talk to you later. Here's my battery cover. Flip it up. The other side. The inside, I've only done 1 layer of primer. Outside, I think I've done like 6. You have to do a lot of primer if you're using MDF like I did. I had MDF left over. If you're using it, you have to use a lot of primer because it just soaks the paint in. So I use, there's like 6 or 7 coats on there right now. There's a lot. Here's what I'm using for paint. Here's what I'm using for paint. We have Krylon Primer, Krylon Fusion Red, and then Clear Coat. Now I know it says bonds to plastic. It also says metal, wood, wicker, more. Wood. Solid. So I've got, all these were left over from other stuff I've done, from painting my engine cover and all that. So I already had all the paint. I already had a thing of caulking and a caulking gun. I already had the MDF. So really, this project cost me nothing. If you're like me, you've got tons of scrap stuff left over. Tons of scraps. So you might have some spray paint. You might have a caulking gun, some caulk. I mean, you could use wood glue. I ran out of wood glue, or I didn't have any, so I didn't. So I just used caulking. And if anyone posts a comment says, he said caulk, I swear I'm going to punch you in the face. But so all this is MDF. Cut a piece for each side, cut a piece for the top. That's it. I mean, it's really simple. All it's going to do is fit tight over my battery, cover it up, add a little bit of style, I guess. It'll have some color. Just make it look nicer. I wanted to use blue paint, but I couldn't find my blue, so I'm using red. I have a lot of red in that engine bay. I gotta do some more blue now because it's all red. Alright, coming back at you here. That's right, it's red. So, this is, I think I've got like 3 coats on there right now. Nice and thick, it's still wet. I don't know how you can really see that, but it's still wet. So it's drying right now. Krylon Fusion. I think it's going to be the last layer of red. Just going to put on a little bit of clear coat to kind of seal it all in, protect it, give it a nice glossy finish. The sides are shit, because this wood is just absorbing the paint. So, whatever, we're just going to leave that. So, yeah, that's it. Pretty much done. Here it is, the battery cover. I ran into a couple slight problems, but it was no big deal. Just goes to show, measure twice, cut once. It's always true. So, what I did wrong was, yeah, there's no side there. It turned into spacers. What happened was, I made the top piece as big as the battery. I didn't account for the extra overhang with those pieces on the side. So I think I originally meant to glue them on the side instead of on the bottom, but I thought on the bottom looked better. This is it with clear coat on, by the way. I did a really heavy coat of clear. Really, I mean, it looks nice. It does. You can see that shine. It looks good. So, hopefully that'll seal it, make sure it doesn't get too wet. I didn't clear too much on the bottom. It's very light on the bottom. And obviously that has nothing because it's now bare. But that's okay. So I took that piece off, just had to break it off. Made it into 2 little spacers here so that it sits on the battery and it doesn't touch the terminals or anything like that. I knew I was going to have to do that. That's a hole for the negative terminal. It'll go right on there. Negative terminal's going to stick out through that hole. So yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Looks pretty slick. I like it. It'll work with my cold air intake, and if I had the stock intake, I'm pretty sure it would work with that too. It would work fine. Not 100% sure, but I think it would work. So yeah, that's it. I'll post up this video later today. Alright, all done now. Got the fuse screwed in. I lost the other screw. So it's got 1 screw, but it's solid. It's on there solid. Now, because I had to take off that other side like I showed you, what I did instead, I don't know if you'll be able to see this at all, because there's very little light back there. I'll look at this later and see if you can see it, but I took an extra piece of wood and put a ton of caulking on the top edge and wedged it up under there because, like I showed you earlier, the battery goes like this. And it goes all the way to the bottom. So there's that gap there. So I put a piece of wood so it's right wedged up against the side of the battery. So hopefully this won't move around because it was going to go everywhere. So hopefully that works. And so that's my battery cover. There's the entire engine. I think it's looking pretty good now. Definitely got some color going on under there. I don't know what I'm going to paint next. What do you guys think? Maybe, probably not that pipe. Maybe I'll do the coolant overflow. I would just be painting the top. I wouldn't paint the rest of it. Coolant overflow. Can't really paint radiator hoses because they get too hot and they're flexible. That'd be hard. But I was thinking of getting like a little, they sell like mesh overlay things to make it colored. So I was thinking about doing that. Coolant overflow box maybe. Maybe doing these little supports right here. Like run along this. They go under, it goes all the way across. So take this off and maybe paint that. Spray paint that. I could do it black so it all kind of blends, or I could do it red or blue. Maybe blue because I don't have that much blue. Might do that in blue. But so yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it.